Hey guys, my name is Aaron and welcome back to Mind Science episode 6. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a subject that everyone is most interested in, and that is of course, how to be happy. Now, you might be wondering, why is this a subject for Mind Science? And the answer is very simple. Because it is your mind that creates all of your suffering. And so happiness is essentially just the absence of mental dysfunction. And so if you want to be happy, then it's really to your benefit to understand how your mind works and why it creates all of your dysfunction. Your mind can become heaven or it can become hell. And the choice between the two is entirely yours to make. This is what I am the most passionate about, and really the whole reason I started this channel to begin with. My mission in life is to help end human suffering anywhere I possibly can, and to teach people how they can have true inner joy and freedom. Because if I can do it, anyone can do it. And so I want to share with you the biggest secret that I have found on my spiritual journey and how to attain true and lasting happiness. And I want to say that these tips will only work for you if you actually apply them to your everyday life experience. Because happiness does not come from acquiring knowledge. Happiness comes from one thing only, and that is desire. If you truly desire to get free more than anything else, that means you're willing to do anything, whatever it takes, to get freedom. Which means that when the rubber meets the road, when those negative thoughts and feelings appear, you're going to actually apply these tips and do the work that it takes. And that, my friends, is the key. So let's dive into the science of cultivating happiness and how to transform your own mind from hell into heaven. So the first and most important thing to know about happiness is that it is not a state that you achieve. Happiness cannot be achieved like a diploma from a university. So if you really want to be happy, then the first thing to do is to completely remove the idea that it is a state you can achieve. It is not. It is more accurate to say that happiness is the absence of all other states. Happiness is what is left when nothing else is there. And this is why it is referred to as emptiness in Buddhism, meaning when you are truly happy, when you truly feel joy, you feel it for no reason. And it is this no reason happiness that you bring into every situation you encounter in life. You're not walking into circumstances any longer looking to be fulfilled, you are bringing your own fulfillment to it. And this is because only what you do not give can ever be lacking. So as long as your happiness is contingent upon anything, then it is not the real thing yet. Anything you can attach to is impermanent, whether that's a job, a relationship, a possession, or an experience. All of these things are passing clouds. And the reason everyone is so unhappy is because everyone is running around chasing clouds. But you can be sure that if it comes, it will go. And if you attach your happiness to it, then your happiness will go with it. So if you search for happiness, you will not find it, because happiness is not outside of you. It is within you already. And when you really connect with your happiness for the first time, you will have the realization that true happiness is causeless. There's absolutely nothing you can point to and nothing you can give credit to for why you feel so much joy. You just do. And this is because you're no longer waiting for something. You're no longer reaching for the future or wallowing in the past. True happiness is the result of what I call perfect presence. Being able to be perfectly wherever you are with no story attached to the moment, no labels, and no past and future. Just the naked now. When you can do that completely, you will find that it is always associated with a state of bliss. So in summary, finding happiness is not the problem. The idea that you can find it outside of you is the problem. Because the moment you think that, you become like the poor blind beggar outside the city gates, sitting on a treasure chest filled with gold and begging for a penny. There is only one way to have true happiness. It can only come from the experience of realizing that everything you could possibly desire is already inside of you. That realization, when fully seen, brings true freedom. Notice I said the experience of realizing and not the concept or idea of it. Happiness cannot be attained by acquiring knowledge. You must be able to look at your own life experience and see for yourself that everything you've ever acquired did not bring lasting happiness. Even if you love playing a sport or an instrument or a hobby that always makes you happy, there could always come a situation where you wouldn't be able to do it any longer. And if that happened, then what would remain? We chase after wealth, romantic relationships, fame, and success so hard because we believe that in those things is true and lasting fulfillment. Yet it can never be in those things because you are the one that gives meaning to everything in your life. You are the one that projects the happiness you feel onto that person, object, or experience. So true happiness comes from realizing this: all of the love, the abundance, the confidence and beauty that you seek outside of you has always been within you. The reason that this simple truth is so difficult for most people to really accept is because the ego has this clever little game that it plays, which I like to call, "Then I'll truly be happy." If I can just get that car, that job, that relationship, then I'll truly be happy. And if the ego can get you to purchase this thought, then it puts you right on those puppet strings again. And so it's important to remember that the ego only has the energy that you give it. The energy that you give it, meaning the attention that you give it, because where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So at one point, I kind of came up with my own clever little trick that I play on my ego to sort of beat it at its own game. And this trick is really just a short 3-word statement, but I cannot overemphasize how powerful this technique is if you know how to use it. These short 3 little words really do have the power to completely free you from these mind traps of always searching for happiness outside of yourself. And those short 3 little words are, "And then what?" That's it. If you just keep giving these 3 words to your mind, then it really has nowhere to go, and you'll find yourself continually at peace again. But the important thing is that this needs to be a real contemplative question. Don't just say the words in your mind, but really look at the question and consider it. Because what you want is to have that little aha moment where you see that, yeah, it's just a facade. There is no happiness in a future moment. Because if I cannot be happy right now, then I'll be in that future moment doing the exact same thing. And that is where the freedom comes from. The ego's game is to keep you always running on the hamster wheel by getting you to continually think and focus on the next thing you have to do in order to be happy. So you can beat the ego at its own game by putting the ego on the hamster wheel. For example, if you're a guy like me, your ego might say to you, "Oh, bro, when you just get that high-paying job, everything's gonna be great. You'll be raking in the dough, you can buy that new car, you can take the ladies out, then you'll truly be happy." And you just say, "Okay, and then what? Then I'll just be happy forever and I'll never hear from you again?" Or the new job will quickly wear off and there'll be another new thing you want me to go chase after. How much longer am I going to delay my happiness onto a future moment? Now, obviously the conversation doesn't happen exactly like this in your mind. It's more of an energetic shift that takes place within you. The ego presents you with a future moment that promises more fulfillment than this one, and then the bad feeling appears, and then you just take a moment to pause and ask yourself the question, "And then what?" And immediately you'll see that the illusion begins to dissolve, because the ego has not been designed to deal with this question. It's only been designed to be a smokescreen. It's a lot like a mirage in the desert. The moment you really stop and look at it, it begins to disappear. And so the ego is always trying to take you out of presence and into some past or future moment. So it says, "Look this way, look that way, look at this idea, look at that idea." And you just say, "No, I'm gonna look at you." The whole sham just falls apart. It all becomes incredibly obvious. Like I'm just sitting here waiting for some future moment to bring me happiness, but every time I get there, even if I'm happy in that moment, It quickly passes, and I'm back to being unhappy again. This has happened my entire life, and so how many more times will it take for me to realize that I'm being played? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 5 million times, shame on me. When you wake up in the morning, your mind says, ugh, when I just get out the door, then I'll truly be happy. And then it says, ugh, when I just get out of this awful traffic and get to work, then I'll truly be happy. And then it says, ugh, when I just get home from work and can relax on the couch, then I'll truly be happy. And then you do get home from work and you are relaxing on the couch, enjoying your favorite show for like 30 minutes, and then the mind taps you on the shoulder and says, psst, sorry to interrupt, but just thought I should remind you that you gotta get up for work in the morning and do that all over again. And then you're like, oh, back on the hamster wheel. Your mind has been promising you future fulfillment your entire life, yet has it ever actually given it to you? If you search through your memories, you'll quickly find that the answer is no, not even once. It's just a game the ego is playing with you to steal your energy and keep itself alive in your mind. But with this one powerful question, you can burn up all these illusions. Because this game the ego plays is a lot like a drug addiction. It doesn't actually feel good to believe that your happiness is elsewhere and you have to go out and find it, but it is a kind of sickening addiction to think that way. Whatever you give your happiness to becomes your god. Some people worship the god of money. Unless they make lots of money, they feel miserable. For other people, it might be video games, movies, cars, relationships, sex, fitness, social media followers. These energies dominate us because we give them all of our self-worth. And this can seduce us into believing that we're actually happy because as long as we have them in our life and everything's going well, then we seem to be doing great. But the moment they become threatened, then we suffer. And if they are removed from us altogether, we become more miserable and unhappy than ever before. And this is totally unnecessary because once you find the happiness that is within you, then you can enjoy all of these things without attachment to them. And where there is no attachment, there is no suffering. What we all truly want, whether we realize it or not, is to be at one with God. Happiness, joy, peace, and bliss is what God is. And all of these states are not something a person can achieve. They are actually the absence of the person. In true happiness, there is no one being happy. A person cannot be happy because a person is a thought construct. It will always want something. But true joy comes from knowing that you are everything that you want. When you're skiing down a mountain, there's nobody saying, I am skiing down this mountain, therefore I am happy. There's just the skiing itself. In that moment, you are perfectly at one with what you are doing, and that is where the joy is felt. When you're with someone that you love, there's no one saying, I am loving this person right now, therefore I am happy. In that moment, you have forgotten yourself. There is only the love itself and the pure joy of experience. This is what we call a flow state. When your mind is completely and singularly focused on what you are doing in this moment, whatever that is, the ego identity collapses, and there is just the state of pure being. Pure, innocent existence, knowing itself. So whether we realize it or not, what we all really long for is our own absence. To be empty of self is to be full of the divine. The present moment is the open door through which you slip past decades of spiritual seeking, where time is denied and the past and future are gone. When we are fully and completely in this moment, we are one with God. So by questioning your thoughts, you free yourself from the ego's